Okay, so today we're gonna talk about the average rate of change. You guys should have talked about rate of change in 8th grade math last year in regards to equations of a line. Anybody remember doing that? Okay. Does anyone remember what the rate of change is when you're talking about the equation of a line? It is, it's the slope. So when you have a line, you have a constant rate of change, right? No matter what that line is, it's always going up at the same rate. But when you have any other function, like the exponential functions we've been talking about and stuff, you don't have a steady rate of change. So you're always taking an average, right? So it's like if you were driving on the freeway from here to, where do we want to go?
Vegas.
So where?
Vegas.
Vegas, okay. So if we were driving from here to Vegas, right, the speed limit and the speed that we travel is going to change several times over the course of that trip, right? So we'll have the speed or our rate of change at certain points in the trip. But if you want to know how long it's going to take you to get there, you have to take an average. So that time that Google gives you, when you stick it into Google Maps, is an average time based on the different rates of change between here and Vegas. Does that make sense? Right? So if you get on, I don't have them a lot here, but in down south, they have them all over the place. They have what they call toll roads. Right? And they like check to see how fast you're going as you go along. And if it becomes very obvious that you were speeding, you get a ticket in the mail. They use your average rate of change. Okay, if they passed this toll booth at this time and this toll booth at this time, and this is our speed limit, in order for them to make it to the next toll booth in that amount of time, they had to have been speeding at some point. Okay, does that make sense? So that's the way it works when you're looking at something that's not a linear function. Okay, so we have a beautiful magic formula that for some reason confuses everyone. So here we go. F of B minus F of A over B minus A. Okay, this is our magic formula to find the average between 2 points. So the B and the A are the interval that you're looking at. Okay, so it could be any set of numbers, but they're the X value of the interval that you're looking at. Okay, F of B and F of A mean what? Let's see if you guys can remember from 2 weeks ago. What does it mean if we have an F of something?
Function.
The function at that value. So you're going to put these B and A into the function that you're given and see what comes out. You're going to find the difference of those and then divide it by the differences between the 2 points on your interval. Okay, so let's practice it with example number 1. Okay, you'll see that when they do it graphically, let's kind of sort of draw their little graph here. When they do it graphically, they draw a line between the 2 points. Okay, and then they find the slope of that line. So in the example on your guided notes, it says that this
-4.
-3, -4,
1, 4.
and this other one is way off as far as actual scale goes, but we're gonna pretend 1, 4. Okay, how would we find the slope of a line? Do you remember?
The rise over the run.
It is the rise over the run. How can you find that if you don't have all the lines?
The counting of the squares or that.
This looks awful familiar, doesn't it? It looks an awful lot like that one.
Does.
It does. And when you think about it, what is your function at a letter? It's your output, right? It's your Y value.
It's up of
So
X
it's very
minus
much the
X.
exact same formula, just written in function notation.
It's f of x2 minus f of x1.
Mhm. X2 minus X1. Okay, so let's plug some numbers in here from our graph. You guys can count it on your piece of paper. But my graph is completely not to scale. So. Now, why might I put those numbers in parentheses?
Why don't you use, because there's a negative.
Because there's a negative. I don't want to lose my negatives.
That.
Okay, that is one of the number one.
Then
mistakes
just make it,
people make.
positive. Can I get a negative?
Yeah, what? In a minute. Okay, so I'm putting negatives in a parentheses so I don't forget that they're actually negative numbers. Right, because if I put a negative sign in front of a negative number, what happens to it?
You lose it,
I lose what?
the negative.
I lose the negative, and negative times a negative
Is a positive.
is a positive. So that's why I'm doing this. I don't want to lose track of my negative signs. Okay, 90% of mistakes people make in math revolve around negative signs. So if I lose my negative and it becomes a positive, then what does this actually turn into?
It turns into, yeah, 4 plus 4 and 1 plus 3, which is 4, and 8 over 4. 6 plus 2.
Okay, could you guys find that just by counting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you went up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, right?
It's so different when you keep it.
Okay, now let's do it this way. What is our function? It gave us a function. I want you guys to see how this works algebraically. Because it's important. Okay, and they want the interval to be -3. -1. Okay. So it looks scary, right?
A
Looks
little.
scary written out like that. A little bit scary. Okay,
You could probably change the x to a -3.
we are going to do that. But here's the really important thing for you to know. Both of these numbers
Are-
represent X values. Okay, neither one of them is a Y.
Wait,
This is not a
where'd you get
coordinate
that
point.
negative at that -1?
Right down, it says ARC over -3, -1, or 3, 1. Never mind. Thank you, Luke. You can go get a candy if you want. Okay. This is not a coordinate point, right? We're not gonna graph -3, 1. These are both input.
This is why you got the back, it says parentheses.
Okay. Well, we could have parentheses if it didn't include these numbers. These square brackets mean we're including those numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody with me? They're both X values. Okay. The other thing I see a lot of, I've seen a lot of it lately with secondary math 2 students, forgetting what an interval is. So these are both X values. So let's just identify our stuff first, right? Because we have our magic formula. Let's figure out what numbers are what, so we can plug them in.
Your X is either the
So
1 or
this would be our A,
and then B.
this would be our B,
B.
and this is our F,
Yeah.
okay? All we're gonna do is we're gonna plug those numbers into the function where the X is, okay? Now, when you put it in a calculator, you gotta be real careful, but you can put it straight into a calculator. So we're gonna first find F of B, so F of 1. See, I'm already replacing my X with those numbers. I'm gonna put my numbers in parentheses every time to start,
1.
so that I don't lose track of any signs. I don't put it into my calculator wrong. Right, because if we miss a negative sign or a parentheses and we put it into our calculator, we're gonna get the wrong answer. Now, this one you can probably do faster in your head than you could do it in a calculator. Something squared is just
Two.
Times itself.
It
times itself, so 1 times 1 is.
One. And it's 4, and then it equals 3, so that is 30.
So it equals
No,
what?
that's just 4, that's just 4, yeah.
Right, 1 plus 4 is 5, minus 1 is 4 again. Okay, you with me? Are we okay?
Yeah.
Anybody losing their minds?
I just got lost.
I am not losing my mind.
We put the 1 in, and then we did the math. 1
I'm
times
not
1
losing
is
my
1.
mind because I've already lost it.
Okay. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Minus 1. Did I get you back? Did I find you again? Okay,
And
I'm gonna erase the graph here. It's on your piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna find f of -3. Okay, so you guys tell me what to write down this time.
Us tell you what to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell me what to do.
That's what I'm
So which
saying.
one are we doing? Are we
We're
doing?
doing f of -3.
Okay, so.
Okay, hold on. Charlie's gonna do it, not you.
Oh.
All right, Charlie, go for it.
F of A. Wait, no.
Then it's seven.
Equals 1 or -3 squared. Plus 4. Times -3. Minus 1.
Okay, I use those parentheses again, and it's extremely vital that I have them this time. Because if I put this in a calculator without these parentheses right here, it's gonna tell me my answer is -9,
Now you know that. Did you put in the calculator?
because I've had a lot of experience with calculators.
I
Okay,
mean, I understand that, but
so what is -3 times -3?
Negative 9.
It's a positive 9. Because it's a negative times a negative. But if you put it in a calculator without the parentheses, it will square the 3, but not the negative. Okay. So when you put a squared into the calculator, use parentheses. Or it will screw it up every single time.
you know, because you've had to deal with it before,
Mhm.
like a lot of times.
Okay, 4 times -3,
-12.
-12. Okay, 9 minus 12,
-3.
-3 minus 1,
-4.
okay, so we have all the numbers we need now for our magic formula. I'm gonna rewrite our magic formula right here.
It's
And then
the
we'll put in
same
our
thing,
numbers.
just with a negative.
Okay, f of b. What was our f of b?
F of B
4.
was the 4. And
F
F
of
of
a,
A was the -4.
b,
4.
4 and -4.
no, what's our b? Not f of b, just b.
B
1.
1 B.
And our a,
-3.
oh, it's like the exact same thing. Okay, so it's really identifying your numbers and plugging them into something that they've already given you. All right, let's look at example 2. You guys do it on your paper and then we'll do it on the board. Count it out first. Just use the graph first and count it out.
I just think it's very confusing.
Okay, but when we're doing it graphically, we just do the line, right? We're just counting that line that they created on the page for you. Are you going up or down first?
I'm going to get the squiggle.
Okay, but you're just following that dotted line that's connecting those 2 points,
It's down.
okay? So when we count our slope, are we going up or down?
Down.
Which means our slope is,
Negative.
okay, so what is your slope?
It is negative, yeah, it's negative.
Okay, so that's what you counted out. Now let's check it
Check.
using our algebra. So what is the interval that they give you?
Negative 2. That's gonna equal to x. 2 is gonna equal to 2.
Okay, so -2 to 2. Can we agree that this is the same as
Yeah.
that? The same interval, just written in 2 different ways, so don't let it freak you out too bad. Okay. It's the exact same thing, just written a tiny bit different. Okay, so we're gonna plug our numbers in. So what's our A and what's our B?
A,
-2, A is 2.
Go the other way. B is always the bigger number. Makes our subtraction easier.
2,
You'll get the same answer either way. But if we just keep it consistent every time, it's gonna be easier for you to remember. All right, so
the A is.
we need f of b, which is 2. All right, so we're gonna just plug it in for x. Any of you be able, can any of you do that in your head? Or do you need to go grab a calculator?
I can do that.
Grab a calculator if you need to. What is 2 cubed? 8. 8. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 4.5 times 2? 9. All right, so what's our answer?
0.
0.
0. Big, that is 0.
Okay, so now we need f of -2.
Negative 8.
Okay, -8.
Yeah.
What makes this one negative when the other one was positive?
Because a negative times a negative is a positive, but then a positive times a negative is a negative.
Excellent.
Negative 8.
Okay.
Minus, negative 9, or is that just 9?
You tell me,
Negative
9.
9.
It's positive A.
because
Both negatives.
they're both negative,
Yeah, okay.
and a negative times a negative.
Plus,
Oh, look, I forgot the +1, and no one noticed. I'm gonna grab candy out of that. Okay,
Yeah.
-8 plus 9.
that's negative 1.
No positive 1.
Positive 1.
+1 plus 1.
2.
That's 2.
Okay, so now we're gonna put it into this. We have everything we need. F of b was 0.
0.
F of a was 2. And we had b,
The B, which is the 2, when it's the negative 2.
0 minus 2 is,
Negative 2.
2 minus the -2?
0.
No, that's 4.
It's 4, because we have the 2 negatives next to each other.
It's negative 1/2.
And it simplifies to a -1/2.
Negative 1/2.
Now, if if we could always do it graphically, why would we bother knowing how to do it algebraically?
Cause sometimes graphically isn't right.
Sometimes we don't have the graph. Sometimes the numbers are too big to bother with a graph.
Cause sometimes
Right.
the line's like, near.
Sometimes your numbers are too huge. They're in the millions, they're in the hundreds. Who wants to count that many?
No one.
It would take way more time than doing it algebraically.
That one guy who just loves counting and takes like.
Okay, so let's try one more. And then we'll talk about increasing and decreasing functions.
This is so different than normal.
Funny thing is you did this last year. I'm just adding function notation to it. That's throwing y'all off.
So many words that I don't know.
Remember the little TikTok I showed you?
No.
F of X
X
and Y are twins. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a minute to do the one on the back, top of the back, see if you can figure it out.
That line.
No, but then you gotta be able to prove it algebraic.
Yeah, that's the difficult part.
Okay, do it. If you can do it.
Slope is just 0.
Write it down and keep going. Stop talking to the math.
I don't get this.
Identify your A and your B. Plug them into the function.
Use the bigger one, right?
B is the bigger number. I see a lot of you not even trying it. I need you to at least attempt it. Reminded last week of saying math is not a spectator sport. You don't learn it by watching it, you learn it by doing it. You can watch me do it all day. That doesn't mean you're gonna know how to do it. You have to try it. Okay, just looking at it, what do you know the slope has to be?
0.
0. So if we don't come up with 0 when we do our math, we did something wrong somewhere, right? Okay, what is our A, what is our B?
A is 0, B is 4.
Okay, so F of B equals what?
4.
F of 4.
Which equals to negative 1/2. And parentheses and the 4 minus 2. And then plus the 2. And plus 4.
Okay, now according to our order of operations, what do we do first?
The
4 minus 2.
4 minus 2, which is what?
2.
Then what?
Square the 2.
Square the 2, which is
4.
negative 1/2 times 4. Oh, look at us, we have to
Negative
multiply
2.
fractions. Negative 2. Negative 2 plus 4 gives you
2.
2.
2. Okay, so this is F of B. So let's find F of A.
And
A is 0.
negative 1/2. And parentheses and 0 minus 2. And 2 plus 4.
So 0 minus 2,
Negative.
negative 2 squared is
4.
4.
negative 1/2 times 4 is
Negative 2. Okay, this 4 is just 2.
okay. Does everybody know how we got to this point?
No.
Okay, you ready, Milo? We took these two numbers, put them everywhere that X is. Is it just because we're missing our glasses, right?
No, I just don't understand.
So think back to. Ooh, I have a good idea. Okay. So when you were in elementary school, you guys did things like this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Right, and you had to figure out what went in here,
That's 3.
right? So what if,
The same.
right? So we would just be putting what in for X?
3.
All we're doing here is the same thing. We're just taking this 0 and putting it in where X is. So we just replace every X with a 0. And then we just do those one step at a time. Okay, we look at it all together and it looks scary, right?
Yeah.
But if we just do what's in the parentheses, can you do 0 minus 2? Yeah, and then can you take negative 2 and multiply it by negative 2? Yeah, so it's just, I know sometimes when you look at these big problems, they're like way overwhelming when you look at the whole thing. So focus in on just the first step. Because you know how to do each step, so I wouldn't give you the problem. Right? You've learned how to do every step along the way. So just take it one bite at a time. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So just start with what you know how to do and work your way out. And eventually this will all become clear and doable. Okay. So I'm just gonna rewrite this over here. So F of B equaled what? What was our F of B?
2.
2. Our F of A was also
2.
2. Okay, our A equaled 0. And our B equaled 4. Okay, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what it is about Common Core math that has made this particular step so difficult for students. But I've noticed, like, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, that's easy, let me just whip through it, not a problem. But something in the way we have taught y'all math makes this part way harder than it needs to be. Okay, if two things are equal, you can replace one with the other. Okay, so f of b equals 2, so we can put it in where f of b is. Right, if f of b is 2, then I can put 2 right here.
And then there's. the
Alright, hold on.
FA.
Are we with me so far?
Yes,
Okay, if f of a equals 2,
then that's just the 2.
then I can put a 2 in right here. Okay, b equaled 4. And a equaled 0.
I don't understand, it's too simple.
Okay, like I honestly don't know what it is about the way we have taught y'all math, but replacing something with something else seems to like. There's a real disconnect there.
I don't understand, it's too simple.
I know, I think maybe that's it. Maybe we've made math so complicated. That when we give you something easy, you're like, no. 2 minus 2 is,
It's 0.
4 minus 0 is,
4. That's
0 divided by anything is just
0.
0. I can only put 0 groups into 0 groups. 0 things into 0 groups. Okay, so my slope, my average rate of change is 0. Does that mean- Okay, hold on. Does that mean that I didn't move?
No.
No, it means that where I started and where I stopped were at the same Y value. I could have done any number of a million things in between. But where I started and where I stopped had the same output. Okay. That's our average rate of change. What that means is if you look at the picture, it opens down, right? It means the first half I went up. Second half I went down the same amount. Okay. So that's like, okay, what's my average rate of change? I went over to Maverick and then I came back. If I finish the same place that I started, I'm neutral, right?
Hey, like all the high schoolers that go here.
I know. Several times a day. Okay. So what does it mean for something to increase?
The increase, it goes bigger.
It goes bigger, it goes up, right?
It goes up, like the movie.
Does go up like the movie. Okay. What if something's decreasing?
And then it goes down, also like the movie.
There's a movie down?
No, but there's a movie up that goes down.
It's true, he does go up and down a lot in that movie. Okay. So when it's asking about increasing and decreasing, and the reason they put this in this lesson is because they want to make sure that you understand that just because we start and end at the same spot doesn't mean we didn't do some crazy stuff in the middle. I should attempt to draw the picture that's on the notes. Yep.
Been getting checked out.
Don't worry about it. Not your problem. Do you want the rest of her stuff or just her backpack?
Just about that.
Okay.
Fine. Fine. And then got that.
I was just trying to say if I really needed to drive and draw the negative. You guys are gonna spend an exorbitant amount of time next year learning about this shape. Anybody know what shape it is?
It's an N or an upside down U.
It's called a parabola.
That's weird.
Quadratic functions form parabolas.
I preferably call
Okay.
it the what the heck is you drawing.
So if we have a line, first off, where does it change direction?
At the, 4 at the top.
Right here, right? This is where it's changing direction.
That's where it goes, wow.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go, okay, where is that? That's at 2,
Step 2,
okay?
4.
I don't care so much about the height. Whenever we ask when is it increasing and decreasing, we're talking about X value intervals. Okay, so just like the interval we were finding our average rate of changeover, we're gonna write it the same way. Okay, when is this increasing? When is it going up?
It goes up,
Like 0 to 5 or 0 to 4.
it goes,
Here's the dilemma. This goes on forever down.
when it goes up, it never goes, woo.
So that means that it starts going up at negative infinity. And if you have negative infinity in your interval, it better go first, because there is not a number smaller than that. Okay, when does it stop increasing?
4.
Okay, the Y value is 4. What X value does it stop increasing? 2. Okay, now, can we ever include negative infinity?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Can you? What's negative infinity?
Negative infinity
And then-
is just infinity. and
Here's
then
my
it's-
question. What's negative infinity minus 1?
Still negative infinity.
It's still negative infinity. We can always go smaller, so we can't include it. Because we can always go farther. So we use a regular parenthesis, because we can't include negative infinity. It's impossible to include negative
But
infinity.
we do include 2.
Exactly, it goes on forever. We can't include it, because there's always another one.
Is it just numbers or is it like? random
Like there's
totals?
4, no wait, there's
Numbers.
5, no wait, there's 6, no wait, there's 7, no wait, there's
Is there
8.
like
Okay,
different
calm down,
types
child.
of comedy?
All right, are we including 2?
Yeah.
We're gonna include 2, because that's where it stops increasing. But it does hit 2. Okay, when is it decreasing?
It decreases.
When is it going smaller?
It goes from
Is this like?
the height is still 2 and goes.
Hmm?
Is this the assignment sheet?
It's this part right here. So we're looking at this one. Okay, so it starts decreasing when?
At 2, then
At 2? When does it stop decreasing?
negative infinity.
That would be the Y value, but we're looking at the horizontal. If we're still traveling this way but going down, what's our X value gonna be that way?
Infinity.
Infinity.
This.
Okay, can we include infinity?
No.
There's always gonna be one more. Can we include the 2?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we're increasing on the interval of negative infinity to 2. Then we change direction and we decrease from 2 to positive infinity. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is all about looking at the graph and seeing which way is it going
Take that off.
and stop. And we only care about the X values. Okay,
Then the Y values are not what we care about, and then we'll be very sad.
when we're talking about if we're increasing or decreasing, we only care about the X values. Promise the Y values, you're used to it. Been this way for centuries. Okay, does everybody have this one written down?
Yes.
And you guys only have to write like the negative infinity to 2 and the 2 to infinity.
Infinity is just a sideways wave. And 0 is just an 8 cutting in half.
Okay. Look at the second one. See if you can figure it out while I attempt to draw this thing. As I mentioned in this class, they really should mandate art classes for math teachers. I'm a firm believer in this.
It's going up and goes in there.
There's my attempt at drawing this bad boy. It's not as pretty as theirs, but here we are. All right, where did it change direction?
Negative. The y is -5 and the x is -2.
Any way chance you could like talk like a normal human being?
No, because I'm not no human being.
Okay,
Should know this by now.
when is it increasing?
The increasing.
Okay, Luke, you don't get to answer this one. Somebody
Oh,
else's turn. When is it moving upward?
-2.
Okay, we start at -2. And when does it end? Infinity. Can we include infinity?
No.
Can we include -2?
No.
Okay, when is it decreasing? Negative infinity till -2. When it switches directions. Not so bad, right? Just look at your graph. Write down the x values. Can you guys tell me number 3 without me? Ooh, this one has doubles. Okay, hold on, we can't just have you tell me this one. Here we go.
it's
You gotta
really
draw me a cubic function.
a cubic.
Should have just made these into slides. The truth is, I was too tired yesterday.
Yeah, you was.
I really just wanted to take a nap.
I was working until like 11 o'clock.
No, last night I quit working at 9:30.
What were you doing for like the extra hour you were up there?
No, I just came downstairs and we watched that episode of Great British Bake Off.
Great British
Anybody else like
Baking.
that show?
I
It's
do.
like, no.
It's a Great British Baking Show. The increasing and the decreasing happened 2 times.
Jeez, and of course it's some totally weird number.
1.225.
Stop, is it about there? Is there?
It's like 1.225. Why can't you just have it be 1?
I'm trying to concentrate here.
Actually.
Okay, here we go.
Why don't you use your trusty ruler right there?
Because it has to be a curved line.
You know, like, to mark the spot.
Okay. So what do they tell you is this line?
-1.225.
And no,
And they're kind enough to tell you this line too.
it's
1.225.
1 and.
Okay. So when are we increasing?
25,000
1.225.
increase.
Is that when we
so
start increasing?
we start increasing at the -100. No, the negative infinity.
Okay, negative infinity, then when does it stop increasing?
The negative 1.225. It starts again.
Okay, so let's pause there for a second. Can we include the negative infinity?
No.
Are we including the negative 1.225? Okay, and then we draw a U. Only it doesn't have its tail. This means union or and. Okay. So it does it from negative infinity to negative 1.225 and from where?
1.25.
It goes.
To when?
1.225 to infinity.
Okay, so we just use this U to indicate that there's more than one place where it does it. You okay with that? Okay, what about decreasing?
Negative infinity.
So now we're looking for where it's going down.
It does that twice, and it starts at negative 1.225.
When does it stop?
Uh,
So we're looking, so we always read a graph from left to right. Just like we read a book,
And it's
right?
got-
So it's
and-
going up, then it's going down, then it's
So
going back up.
then it goes to 1.225.
So it stops going down at 1.225. Okay, and we can include both of those.
That's the only time.
See how that works?
Increases.
Like we're going up from negative infinity till we hit negative 1.225. Right, this is going up, so it's increasing. Just switch colors.
I mean.
And then our Y values are decreasing right here. Then we hit the bottom and start going back up again. So then we're increasing again. So we have two areas of increasing, but just one of decreasing on this example. We all okay with this? Mostly not confused, clear as mud? Clear as mud, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the assignment. It has
If you say clear as I,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
it's more clear, but.
6,
it's not
7,
that
8 questions. The front,
eight.
it has both of the graph and the algebra, and then the back, it just has the algebra and then the increasing and decreasing. I anticipate you're all gonna get done with this early, and if you do, I have something else planned.
What you have planned?
I want to give you as much class time to work on your project
Oh,
before the end of the term as possible, but I was, still want to make sure that you understand everything that I want from your project.
I think bingo and I need to- with the bingo we do
Okay. We're about 2 units behind where we should be for this time of year.
You have like two types and stuff like this, and the other ones. different story. And then next time everybody's gonna go order.
A bunch of you get swapped around. Some of you I had to go, no, just you. I went and said, put him back on A-Day.
Cause otherwise I can't do all the other class, I can't be in two working skills.
No, you were just in a little, I would, all of you, I would check your schedules and make sure you're happy with them for next term,
I know.
because the computer did some really weird stuff.
Yeah.
Mr. Higby said that his